Welcome to another edition of the Cannon Chatter Podcast with your host, the Southern Gooner. Hope everyone is doing well, and we have one more week to go in the Premier League season. What a season this has been. It's been a very, very long season. It's been stressful, and it looks like it's going to get ramped up to the max this week as some Arsenal fans are looking for Spurs to do the job. My friends, I am not on board with Tottenham winning anything, and I am sorry. I'm sorry. I cannot say I want Tottenham to do anything. I want Tottenham to go to hell, and I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. It's really not going to matter anyway, because Manchester City is going to pull into the toilet bowl, and they are going to lay the hammer down. I expect this one to be probably one of the slaughterings of the season. I mean, it is going to be a knockdown, drag out. And I was not privy because I didn't even watch the Spurs game this weekend until it was mentioned today that Spurs had already had their lap of honor. So if they've already had that lap of honor, then what does that tell you? That means that they're probably not even going to play their starters, which is something, by the way, if you have been following or listening to anything that I've been on the last couple of months, I said that's probably what was going to happen, was that if, in fact, it came down to Spurs needing to do something for Arsenal, you can just hang it up. It ain't happening. And Ange Postecoglou is not going to put his job on the line by winning a match that would win us the title. No way, Jose. Ain't happening. Ain't happening. So I think what's going to happen this week is the reality is finally going to set in. It's finally going to set in. If I had my way, I would love for West Ham to pull a hammer, no pun intended, right out from up under City on next Sunday. But they're probably at the beach as well. I think what's being lost in all of this discussion is the fact that we have had ample opportunities, chance after chance after chance, for us to turn around and win games that we need to win. West Ham, Fulham, Chelsea, Newcastle, 0 shots on goal. 6 points were given to Aston Villa this year. 6 points. You know, we've got to learn, and I just don't think people have learned this, that there's a lot of discussion going on today that, oh, you got to be perfect to beat City. In theory, yes. You just have to be consistent. And the problem with Arsenal is that when we're inconsistent at the most inopportune time. Let's go back to December. I think it was 1 win in 7 or something along those lines, if I can remember correctly. I mean, you just take 2 wins there, and we're having a different discussion. Matter of fact, we're on the stream right now probably celebrating a championship. Those are the fine margins. And these are the things that I keep trying to tell people that we've got to go into next season with a different mindset. And any team that decides that they're going to take it serious across the board next year will be the team that will pressure City. Liverpool, when you go back and look at the year they won, they just were far and wide the best team. They just literally took it to City. And you have to do that. You have to do that. You've got to take it to this team. City are definitely beatable. People are going around as if this team is unbeatable. They're definitely beatable. They are definitely a beatable team. It's just the fact of the matter is you're going to have to make sure that all of your loose ends are tied up. And you're going to have to make sure that you don't leave it for someone else to do the job for you. There's a lot of discussion tonight. A lot of people pointing the finger. Oh, you're not an Arsenal fan if you don't support Tottenham on Tuesday. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. But I'm not pulling for Tottenham Hotspur. Just ain't happening, man. I'm not rooting for a rival. A direct, flat out direct rival. Just ain't doing it, man. Just I'm not doing it. I'm not crazy like that, you know? I'm not crazy like that. The problem and what's killing me is people like, oh well, you don't want the success. You don't want any success. No, look, anybody knows that the way I've been on Mikel Arteta's neck the last 2-3 years, know that I want what's best for the club. But I'm here to tell you this. There's a lot of people, man. There's a lot of old school heads that are just not on board with this. And luckily, another year shows up, and this brother here shows up again, and he says exactly what I'm trying to say here. Have a listen.
That's us, the norm. They have to do that, because if not, they would have surrendered the league to Man City. And as we know, people have a lot of hopes going forward for Tuesday night. Hopefully, you know what? I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to support or carry on or back in Tottenham. I will never do that. If Man City want to go there and give Tottenham 100 and we'd only win the league, so be it. I care zero. If Tottenham want to beat Man City, then so be it. But I will never sit down here saying that we're going to bring Tottenham. I will never do that. Sorry. I'd rather lose the league than do that. I would rather lose the league than my heart tell me that, you know what, for Tuesday, be a supporter for Tottenham and want to see Tottenham beat Man City. Nah, sorry. I don't care. Sorry. I will never do that. I'm not selling my soul. I will not sell my soul. No. We have to win the league some other way, but not by, you know what? I'd rather bring West Ham. I'd rather West Ham put a foot down and get something out of the game coming next Sunday, 4:30. West Ham say, you know what? Let's go for the Conference League again, because I don't think West Ham is in the position to play Conference League. I might be wrong. I don't want to look at the table.
That was the Yard Man. And another Yard Man. Shout out to Yard Man if you catch this on the replay, brother. I absolutely love that, because he encapsulates every single thing that I'm thinking. Every single thing that I'm thinking when it comes to this whole thing that's going on. We should have done our job when we had the chance. We have got to stop relying on people to do our work for us. If we're looking at moving to the next level, we're in the Champions League next year. It's time that we start thinking about next season, because this season is pretty much a wash. And I've told people it's going to take a holy miracle for us to get anything out of this season. It's going to take a karmic botching from City for us to win. Look, I'm here for it. If they want to botch it, we're not going to turn it down. But I just don't see City in the form that they in right now botching anything going forward. I just don't see it happening. What we need to start doing is we need to immediately, once the summer is over, we need to assess the situation, who's staying and who's going. We need to bring in top class, world class, game changing. We need to bring in much better players than what we have on the bench. We need better players. We've got to get it done. I'm telling people, and I want Arsenal to start moving like a house on fire, because the teams that are going to be in competition next year, they are coming back with a vengeance. They are coming back with a vengeance. Newcastle, they will be in for some signings. Aston Villa will be in for some signings. Manchester United will be in for some signings. Chelsea, by the way, who are in 7th place after toiling in mid-table for God knows how long this season, they have started to get it together. They will definitely be in the transfer market this summer. Then you look at Manchester City. You look at Liverpool. Arne Slot is going to be out looking for signings. That means that we don't have time to mess around. We don't have time to be checking the books and looking here for FP and all these excuses. There are no more excuses. There are no more excuses. We're moving into year 4.5, and we're on the doorstep for 5 years. 2 years of challenging for a title that has resulted in nothing, and 2 years in the Champions League, and something's got to give. We've got to get something going. What I ultimately want to see next year is us in these cup competitions taking it serious. We've got to get some form of a winning foundation at this football club. We've got to get a winning foundation at this football club with the current players that we have, the Sockers of the world, the Gabriels, the Salibas of the world, the Ben Whites, Declan Rice. These players need to see a high level of success if we want to hold on to these players within the next 3 years. Because if I'm mighty afraid that if we don't do it, these players are going to start looking around. The big boys are going to come knocking. Barcelona is going to come knocking. Real Madrid will come knocking. And if we don't have any form of success, and I want people to stop getting us challenging in second place, finishing in second place as success. That is not success. That just means you had a pretty good year. That didn't mean you had a great year. You just had a pretty good year because you finished in second. We have got to get some success. We've got to be competitive in these cup competitions next season. It just has to be done. It has to be done, ladies and gentlemen. We have sat here another campaign. This is what hurts me the most is we have done everything right by the book. You beat most of the top 6. You didn't take anything. You didn't lose the City this year. And we're still short because we did not show up in critical games. The Fulhams of the world, the Villas, the Chelseas, we didn't show up when we need to show up in those games. And this is when we talk about mentality. That's the mentality. You have to show up and you've got to get something out of those games. The manager, he went back to Jesus. He went back to Zinchenko at the worst time when we were in a critical point of the season. He went back to what he wanted to do. And I told people that when we're up under this manager, that we're going to have to go on the roller coaster with him because he's inexperienced. He's going to be up, and we got to be up with him when he's up, and he's got to be when he makes those mistakes, and we got to be down, And let's not kid ourselves. We still have to beat Everton next week. And Everton right now, 1 loss in 8 games. And Sean Dyche loves to play physical and rough and tumble with Everton. That he loves to play, just anybody when we play him. But the fact that Everton is a little physical, they got a really robust midfield. Those are all problem areas for us. Pressure is going to be on us next weekend. People are going to be looking on the phone. People are going to be in the crowd. You're going to be hearing the crowd rumble. You're going to be hearing groans, and you're going to be hearing the players are going to be looking up at the scoreboard. It's going to be a lot going on next weekend. It's going to be a lot going on next weekend. I am so frustrated. I am so frustrated because we were right there on the doorstep this year. We were right on the doorstep. But because we didn't get someone in January, people will say, well, we kept scoring goals, man. We had one of the best goal scoring. I want a player that scores those games, Fulhams, the Aston Villas. Those are the games you need somebody putting goals in addition to everybody else. We lack the killer instinct. Brother Ian said it earlier this year. We need killers. We got to have them. We need people who can go in and take points when we need them. We need players like that. We've got to have it. Thank God that we hadn't had major injuries this year. We hadn't had to really rely on the bench. But if we'd had 1 or 2 injuries this year, that's it. Shout out to this defense. This defense has literally kept us in most of the title race this year. Just the defense alone. The defense alone, ladies and gentlemen. This defense has probably been the best maybe since the mid-2000s. I mean, this defense this year has been world class. Top draw. But we've got to get players to get on the page. Like soccer today in the Manchester United game. What was that performance today? Odegaard, I need you in big games, brother. That was a big game. I need you. I need the same level that we saw a couple of weeks ago today. I need it next week. I need it next season, week in, week out. We can't have it going in and out, in and out, in and out. And I want to put this in perspective. I mentioned this earlier today with Lee in the game. If Declan Rice is not in this team this year, I don't even know if we even in the top 4. That just goes to show you how critical it is that you have the right pieces in place and that things go right for you. We can't leave any stone unturned next season. We can't do it because I think our window, we may be on the other side. And if we don't do what we need to do in the transfer window, we could be out of this thing real quick this time next season. And it'll be all of this talk about 27 and hadn't been done since the Invincibles and the records breaking and all that. The only record breaking will be is that we've competed 2 years and hadn't came on with anything. Anything. And it hurts my heart. It hurts my heart as an Arsenal supporter. Because I know that everybody wants to win. But when we do not do what we need to do in these games like the Villa, with you 6 points we've given up to Aston Villa. We didn't even take a game off of them, y'all. 3 points. 2 we left over at Stamford Bridge. That's 5. If we would have just got 3 points from Villa, got two extra points from the Chelsea game. Fulham, 10-man Fulham, man, we cruising to the title this year. But we didn't do what was required when we needed to do it. What has City done when it's been required of them all this calendar year? Every time they need something, they find a way. No matter how tight the game looks, when they decide they want to end it, they end the game. We've got to get that mentality, y'all. We've got to get it. For me, I know Mikel Arteta's coming back, but I think he's taking the team as far as he can take it. And that's not a knock on him. It's just that's a case of when you're in this kind of position on a job like this for Arsenal, at a football club like Arsenal, you know, every flaw that you have is going to be magnified. Every flaw is going to be magnified. People are going to listen to this and they're going to say, well, dude, we're still in it. We're still in it. So what are you complaining about? We won today. It still goes over people's head. We have a lot of work to do if we want to be competitive. We have a lot of work to do. A lot of it's going to have to be done in the transfer market. We've got to revamp this academy. We got to start bringing in players from the academy that are successful and exposing them to first team football, so that they're not thrown into to this team like a deer in the headlights when the light is shining on them. You know, you can best believe Tottenham's going to put out their academy players on Tuesday. I can guarantee you that. That I do know. They're going to play academy players on Tuesday. So whoever has had a good year this year in the academy, they're going to get a run out against it. They will be the sacrificial lambs on Tuesday. But, ladies and gentlemen, this is another case of we left it too late to get the business done. I'm emphatic that we beat United. It was not a pretty win by any stretch of the imagination. It was that. Let me tell you, that was probably one of the worst Manchester United teams I have ever seen in my entire life. Absolute worst. That Garnacho is one of the sorriest footballers I've ever seen. Absolutely scandalous. That's their problem. Our problem is we've got to learn how to close the deal. We've got to develop people are saying you've got to be perfect to beat City. Well, if you got to be perfect to beat City, then you have to do it. Who's to say we hadn't done it? We've been perfect before. It can be done. It's a mentality thing. And that's the one thing that Man City has over Arsenal. They have a mentality advantage. And we have to adopt that mentality. We have to adopt that in the Champions League. You look at that game the other night with Bayern Munich and Real Madrid. We're not ready for those two teams. People are gonna say, well, yeah, but we tied Bayern Munich, a bad Bayern Munich team. Yeah, but we could play that game again, and we probably won't beat them. We won't beat them. We're not even in a discussion when it comes to Real Madrid, the level that they're on. Even Dortmund. You look at Dortmund. A lot of people wanted Dortmund when they were doing the draws for the knockout stages. Everybody was saying, "Oh, we give you Dortmund." Are you sure you wanted that Dortmund after what you've seen? We've got a lot of work we've got to get done in the off season. There's going to have to be some tough discussions. There's some players that have been here for the last few years. They're going to have to be moved on. It's time to cut the umbilical cord from some of these players and let them move on. And there needs to be some internal looking. And there has to be a mentality switch, because until we change our mentality, where we're playing like where we're playing to win every game. See, everybody puts emphasis on the last 4 or 5 weeks. We need this kind of same emphasis throughout the season. Early in the season, me, Lee, Ola would sit on the broadcast and we kept saying, well, hey man, we just can't keep winging it in some of these games. We can't keep winging it. And then when we would lose the games, oh, it doesn't matter, man. We only just dropped 3 points. We're still at the top of the table, or we're still competing. What are y'all complaining about? Now those same games that we were complaining about and that we were telling everybody and warning people about, those are the games that are staring us, looking at us right in the face. And it's a familiar sight. It's a familiar sight. Because we've seen this before. We've seen this before. But this time, the pain is going to be very, 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 very hard for a lot of Arsenal fans. After Tuesday night, I don't know what the score is going to be. I just know that if City wants to send a message, they're going to run up the score Tuesday night. They're going to try to go for 4, 5, 6, 7, just to get the goal differential sorted out. And then when they play West Ham next week, it's going to be knocked down, drag out. So, with that, this is Matt. Another Cannon Chatter, rapid reacts from today's events as we head into next week. Hope that everyone has a productive week. Hope everyone is well. I'll definitely be watching the game on Tuesday. West Ham City, that's the game I'll be keeping an eye on. I'll be listening to it in my ear during the broadcast. But it's going to be real tough for us to get a title out of this. It's going to take City screwing up, and I'm here for it. Now, if they want to screw it up, if they want to screw it up and botch it, I'm here for it. But the realist in me knows that we've missed another opportunity. We've missed another opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I'm only a few away from 2,000. We're just about there. We're going to start putting together a panel soon. We're going to be doing the end of the year discussions. So I'm starting to reach out to people. We got Jez, we got Monty. I'm sure Lee's going to be there. Kenny as well. Ola, and a host of others. Tony, Claude, and we're gonna have a nice lengthy discussion on why and what went wrong this Premier League season. So that'll be on the docket soon. Also, I've got a couple of new shows I'm working on as well that I'll be recording with Brother Lion Tex. So we'll be doing that, debuting that this summer as well. And I just want to say thank you, everybody, for taking out time in your day or your morning or your evening to have a listen to this. And, hey, next week is going to be a very, very interesting week. I am Matt, the Southern Gooner. Hope that you enjoyed it. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.